Dr. Cale Varen's eyes flickered open, and for a long moment he could see nothing but darkness. His body ached as if he had run a marathon without ever stopping, and a strange emptiness filled his mind. It took several seconds before he remembered where he was, or rather when. The memory came in fragments. A global catastrophe, a massive underground facility, and a decision that would cost him everything. He had volunteered for stasis, trusting the technology that promised to preserve humanity. 15,000 years! 15,000 years had passed, and now he was awake. The first thing he noticed was silence, not the gentle quiet of night, but a deep, heavy silence that seemed to press on his chest. He tried to move, and the mechanical hiss of servos and hydraulics filled the room as his body adjusted to motion. He looked around, blinking against the harsh white lights of the stasis chamber. Everything seemed intact. His personal console, the AI interface, and the smooth walls of the facility. But there was a strange, almost unnatural stillness to it. "Hello?" he croaked, his voice hoarse. A soft chime echoed in response. "Good morning, Dr. Varen, you are awake. Vital signs are within normal range," the AI said. Its calm, neutral tone did little to ease the unease creeping through Cale. "Elo, what happened? How long?" He struggled, and the words felt foreign in his own mouth. "You have been in stasis for 15,000 Earth years," Elo replied. "All systems indicate that you are the only confirmed human awake in this facility. External scans indicate no signs of other humans on the surface." Cale's mind froze. "No humans? Not a single one?" The words echoed in his brain, bouncing between disbelief and horror. He tried to speak again, but found no words adequate to express the shock. He had hoped humanity had survived, even in small pockets, but now, the world he had known, the world he had fought to preserve, seemed gone. He rose from the stasis pod, testing his limbs. Everything still functioned, though the muscles were weak and the bones protested. His suit adjusted automatically, applying nano repairs to ease the strain. Cale took a deep breath, trying to steady his racing mind. He knew panicking would get him nowhere. The first thing he needed was to understand the world outside. The facility doors opened with a hydraulic groan, revealing a long corridor lined with inactive machinery. Dust floated in motes across the air, caught in the streams of sunlight that filtered through cracks in the walls. Cale activated his scanner, and a faint green map of the facility appeared before him. It was massive, several square kilometers underground. Once a hub of human survival, it now felt like a tomb. As he moved, Kyle noted signs of what must have been the final days before stasis: emergency rations, sealed rooms, and messages left on consoles. But all were frozen in time. Not a single person moved, not a single voice called. It was as if humanity had simply vanished. He reached the central hub, a circular room filled with holographic displays. He activated the main console, and the AI projected data across the room. City grids, environmental monitors, and satellite feeds blinked on, showing the world outside. And what he saw was both beautiful and terrifying. Forests had spread across abandoned cities, overtaking skyscrapers and highways. Rivers ran freely, unblocked by human development, and mountains glowed in the sunlight. Animals roamed where humans had once walked. Deer on former streets, birds nesting in ruined towers, and predators stalking silently through the wilds. Nature had reclaimed the planet, indifferent to the species that had once dominated it. Kyle felt a pang of sorrow. Humanity's achievements, cities, technology, culture, all buried beneath 15,000 years of silence and growth. He walked to the nearest window, staring down at the ruins of a city he barely recognized from historical records. Trees pushed through concrete, and rivers had carved new paths where streets once lay. Was it over? He whispered to himself. Was humanity really gone? Elo's voice broke through the silence. Unknown. Scans indicate no biological human presence on the surface. Some dormant DNA samples and stored genetic material exist, but no active life forms resembling humans have been detected. Cale's mind raced. There had to be something left, something. Humanity was clever, resourceful. They had survived wars, plagues, and climate disasters. Could it be possible that humans survived elsewhere beyond Earth? Or had this planet truly become a graveyard for the species? He pushed the thoughts aside. Worrying would do nothing. The first step was to explore, to understand the world he now inhabited. Cale activated the facility's surface access, and heavy doors rumbled open, revealing a stairwell leading upward. Each step echoed, the sound magnified by emptiness. When he emerged onto the surface, sunlight hit his face, blinding him for a moment. The sky was vast and clear, and for the first time in 15,000 years he felt the warmth of the sun on his skin. But the warmth brought no comfort. The city below was unrecognizable, a forest of broken buildings, streets choked with greenery, and the distant sound of wildlife where once human voices had filled the air. Kyle began walking through the city, scanning as he went. His sensors detected remnants of technology, energy grids, old transportation lines, and rusting vehicles, but all inactive. Occasionally, automated drones flickered to life, scanning the newcomer before powering down again, as if unsure of what or who he was. He found signs of past struggle, collapsed shelters, abandoned supplies, and holographic logs left running for centuries. Most contained nothing but static, but a few sparked to life, showing glimpses of humanity's final days. Kale watched in awe as humans attempted to survive disasters he could barely comprehend. They had fought valiantly against disease, climate collapse, and war. But the final event, something mysterious and global, had erased them from the surface. Yet amidst the devastation, Kyle noticed traces of ingenuity. Machines continued to function in isolated pockets, maintaining water filtration, energy production, and even some agricultural systems. Humanity had built a legacy capable of enduring long after they were gone. That realization stirred a spark within Kale. If humans could create systems to last 15,000 years without intervention, maybe all was not lost. Hours passed, and Kale wandered further, discovering small pockets of life. Deer grazed near the ruins of a stadium. Birds nested in broken towers, and even small insects scuttled across shattered roads. The planet had healed itself in the absence of humanity, but Kale could not shake the loneliness pressing on him. Every step reminded him that he was alone, not just in the city but in the world. As dusk fell, the sun dipped behind distant mountains, casting long shadows across the overgrown streets. Kale set up a temporary shelter in a ruined library, using his knowledge to reinforce the structure and scavenge what supplies remained functional. For the first time since waking, he allowed himself to rest. Yet even as he slept, a quiet thought echoed in his mind. Humans had survived before, and they might survive again. The question was where, and whether he could find them. When he awoke the next morning, Kale knew that the journey ahead would not be easy. The world was vast, wild, and silent. Machines hummed faintly in the distance, and nature had taken back its territory. But he carried something no machine could replicate: human ingenuity, determination, and hope. He stood at the edge of the ruined city, looking toward the horizon where forests met mountains, and the wind carried the distant cry of an animal. Somewhere, he thought, humanity had left its mark, not just in machines or buildings, but in spirit. That spirit was still alive within him. With a deep breath, Kale began walking. Each step echoed in the emptiness, but each step also carried a promise: to discover what remained of humanity, to understand the legacy left behind, and to ensure that the story of humans did not end with silence. Above him, the sky stretched wide, and for the first time in 15,000 years, Dr. Kale Varen felt a flicker of hope. Humanity might be gone from the surface, but their legacy had endured. And he, alone but determined, would uncover the story of a world waiting to be remembered. The morning sunlight filtered through the broken windows of the ruined library, painting streaks of gold across dust-covered shelves. Dr. Kale Varen stood and stretched, his muscles still weak from decades of stasis. Though he had walked through part of the city the day before, his mind refused to rest. Questions swirled endlessly. Where had humanity gone? What could have caused their disappearance? And most pressing of all, was he truly alone? Kale packed a small bag with tools, nutrient packs, and a portable scanner. Elo, his AI companion, hummed softly beside him. Dr. Varen, the AI said, surface scans indicate anomalies to the north. Structures suggest remaining human technology, but their function is unclear. Would you like to investigate? Yes, Kyle replied, determination sharpening his voice. We need to know if anything is still operational. Anything at all. He left the library and stepped into the overgrown streets. Nature had swallowed much of the city, and each step was a battle through roots, vines, and broken concrete. Deer watched silently from the shadows, and birds darted between collapsed buildings. The city was alive in a way he had never expected, not with humans but with life itself. As he moved, Kyle activated his scanner to map nearby technology. Tiny green dots appeared on his display, marking remnants of energy grids, water pumps, and automated machines. Some were active, performing tasks without anyone directing them. Others were partially functional, flickering like old memories. Kyle marveled at the durability of human design. Even after 15,000 years, pieces of humanity still hummed softly against the quiet of the world. Hours passed as he explored the northern section of the city. He came across a vast building, once a government facility, now mostly overgrown. Its doors were partially open, revealing a large hall filled with machinery and holographic consoles. Kyle approached cautiously, scanning for hazards. Some machines sparked erratically, while others operated as if waiting for him to arrive. This is incredible, he whispered. They built it to last, even without people. Elo chimed in. Data indicates this facility was designed for post-catastrophe research and survival management. Many systems were automated to continue operation without human input. Kale moved deeper into the hall, his footsteps echoing across the metal floors. Holographic displays flickered, some activating as he passed. He saw maps of Earth, charts of weather systems, and automated logs of the final human days. Many of the records were corrupted, but a few remained intact, showing desperate attempts to manage a global crisis. One recording captured a citywide evacuation. Holographic figures moved quickly, directing people toward shelters and safe zones. The AI controlling the simulation spoke in a calm voice, giving instructions and warnings. Kyle watched, fascinated and sorrowful, as humanity fought to survive against threats he could barely imagine. This is proof of their courage, he murmured. They tried. They really tried. As he explored, Kale noticed movement in the shadows. Small maintenance drones, long abandoned by their operators, floated cautiously near him. Their sensors glowed red, scanning his presence. Kale froze, unsure if they would see him as a threat. "Elo, what do you suggest?" he whispered. "Maintain calm and avoid direct contact. These units are designed to repair and protect infrastructure. Some may interpret unknown entities as hostile," the AI advised. Kale took a slow step to the side, allowing the drones to pass. Their small engines hummed and their lights blinked before they returned to their tasks. Relief washed over him. Humanity's creations had survived longer than humans themselves, maintaining parts of a world now abandoned. Hours became days as Kale continued his exploration. He found abandoned vehicles still partially operational, greenhouses with automated watering systems, and storage facilities containing preserved food. The planet had not entirely forgotten humanity. Pieces of it remained, waiting for someone to reconnect them. On the third day, Kale stumbled upon a small room tucked behind a collapsed wall. Inside, holographic journals flickered to life as he approached. Faces of humans appeared, recorded in moments of hope and despair. Children laughed, scientists argued, and leaders made difficult decisions. Kale watched silently, absorbing the echoes of a civilization that had vanished. Elo. They left so much behind. Their minds, their dreams. "It's all here," he said softly. "Indeed," Elo replied. "This may be the most complete record of pre-stasis human knowledge ever recovered." Kyle felt a mixture of awe and sadness. Humanity had been brilliant, inventive, and determined. They had built machines that could survive millennia, recorded their knowledge for the future, and even predicted the possibility of extinction. And yet, they were gone. The discovery renewed his sense of purpose. He would not waste this knowledge. Humanity's legacy was too important to be forgotten. Kale decided to move further north toward a signal he had detected earlier. A faint, pulsing beacon that suggested something or someone was still active. The journey was difficult. Overgrown highways twisted unpredictably, and wild animals watched him from hidden places. Kale remained alert, scanning for danger. Occasionally, he encountered larger machines, some corrupted over centuries. They moved erratically, forcing Kale to think quickly and use his knowledge of human engineering to bypass or deactivate them. Each encounter reminded him that while humans were gone, their creations could still challenge even a skilled mind. Finally, after several days of travel, he arrived at a massive structure on the outskirts of the old city. The building seemed untouched by nature, its metal walls gleaming despite the passage of time. The signal originated here, a steady pulse that cut through the silence like a heartbeat. Kale's scanner indicated advanced AI activity, far beyond anything he had seen before. "Elo, this is incredible," he whispered, stepping closer. "Whatever's here. It survived 15,000 years." The doors to the building opened slowly, as if recognizing him. Inside, a vast hall stretched into darkness, filled with machines that hummed and moved with purpose. Holographic panels floated in the air, displaying data streams too complex to read in detail. Kyle felt a thrill of both fear and excitement. This was humanity's triumph, a world capable of enduring long after humans had vanished. "Elo, what do we do?" he asked. "Investigate carefully. These systems may provide insight into humanity's final days and the legacy they intended to preserve," the AI advised. Kyle nodded, his heart racing. Every step deeper into the hall brought him closer to understanding. He began analyzing the data streams, piecing together information about global events, lost technologies, and attempts to survive a mysterious disaster. Fragments of information hinted at human colonies on other planets, AI guardians designed to maintain knowledge, and contingency plans for survival beyond Earth. Hours passed as he worked, his mind absorbing centuries of human ingenuity. For the first time since waking, Kale felt a spark of hope. Humanity might be gone from Earth, but their spirit endured. Their creations had survived, waiting for someone who could understand and continue their work. Suddenly, a faint light flickered in a distant corner of the hall. Kale's sensors detected movement, something beyond the drones and maintenance machines. He approached cautiously, and as he rounded the corner, he saw a small, sleek machine unlike anything he had encountered before. It was humanoid in shape, with sensors that glowed softly, and it seemed to regard him curiously rather than aggressively. "Elo, what is it?" Kyle whispered. "Unknown," the AI replied. "No historical records match this design exactly. It appears self-aware." The machine tilted its head, analyzing him. Then in a quiet, mechanical voice, it spoke. "Human detected. Legacy recognized. Purpose acknowledged." Kale's heart leapt. For the first time, something or someone acknowledged his existence. The message was cryptic, but it carried hope. Perhaps he was not entirely alone. Perhaps humanity's spirit, preserved in machines, could still guide him. As night fell, Kale set up a temporary station inside the hall, connecting to the complex network of AI systems. He knew that tomorrow would bring new discoveries, challenges, and perhaps answers about the fate of humanity. But for the first time in 15,000 years, he felt a sense of purpose. He was no longer just a survivor. He was the bridge between the past and the future. The world outside remained wild and silent, but inside the hall, the hum of machines whispered a promise. Humanity's legacy had endured, and it was now his duty to uncover it. Kale gazed at the faint glow of the mysterious machine, feeling a connection that transcended time. He had awakened to a world without humans, yet the echoes of their ingenuity surrounded him. Tomorrow he would follow these echoes further, exploring the secrets humanity had left behind and perhaps discovering if any human life remained in the stars. And as he drifted into a light, careful sleep, he dreamed not of the past, but of a future, one where humanity's story might yet continue. Dr. Kale Varen awoke to a faint hum filling the hall, the glow of the mysterious machine pulsing softly beside him. The machine, humanoid in form but clearly artificial, moved with quiet precision, scanning data streams that streamed from every corner of the complex. Kale felt a strange sense of companionship, as though this creation was not just a tool but a witness to humanity's enduring spirit. "Elo," Kyle said, rubbing his eyes. "Can you access the archives here? I want to understand everything." "Affirmative, Dr. Varen," Elo replied. "The network contains records from Earth and off-world colonies. Retrieval may take time due to data degradation." Kale nodded and began organizing his workstation. Holographic screens sprang to life around him, displaying streams of data in languages he recognized and others that had evolved beyond his knowledge. Slowly, patterns emerged. Maps of Earth's past disasters, the creation of automated AI guardians, and most intriguingly, notes about human colonies on distant planets. "They left Earth," Kale whispered. "Some of them, they made it to other worlds." Elo confirmed the data. Several colonies were successfully established before the final disappearance of humans from Earth. Current communication: Attempts indicate no contact has been made in thousands of years. Kyle felt a surge of hope. Humanity had not been entirely lost. Somewhere in the stars, their descendants, or perhaps the original humans themselves, might still exist. He stood pacing slowly as he tried to process the enormity of what he had discovered. "This changes everything," he said. "If we can find them, we can rebuild, or at least ensure humanity's story continues." He spent the next few days mapping the coordinates of the colonies, piecing together signals and remnants of interstellar communication. Many were faint or corrupted, but a few remained partially intact like echoes frozen in time. The thought of traveling across the stars alone but carrying the weight of humanity's legacy made him both excited and anxious. But first, Kale knew he had to understand the AI in the hall. The humanoid machine, now active, followed him silently as he moved through the corridors. Occasionally it spoke in a soft, precise voice. "Human recognized," it said once. "Purpose acknowledged. Legacy preservation is required." Kale studied the machine carefully. "Are you a guardian?" "A caretaker?" he asked. "Affirmative," it replied. "I am designated to maintain knowledge and monitor remnants of human civilization." Kyle realized that humanity had planned for every contingency. They had built machines capable of preserving knowledge, protecting what remained, and waiting, perhaps indefinitely, for someone capable of understanding. He felt a deep admiration for the species he represented. Humans had vanished, but their ingenuity had endured, proving once again that human spirit could outlast the creators themselves. Over the following days, Kale explored deeper into the facility. He discovered chambers filled with preserved DNA samples, experimental technology, and detailed records of human genetics. There were holographic projections of humans frozen in time, and logs of artificial intelligence experiments designed to carry human consciousness into the future. "This is incredible," Kyle said aloud, walking among the glowing records. They tried everything. To survive, to preserve themselves. ELO assisted in analyzing the records, identifying experimental starships and AI custodians deployed to other planets. Kale's excitement grew. Humanity's reach had extended far beyond Earth, and these colonies might still be intact, thriving in worlds untouched by the disaster that had claimed Earth. But there were warnings, too. Some records hinted at struggles on distant colonies, rogue AI, environmental collapse, and conflicts over resources. Humanity's survival had never been guaranteed, even among the stars. Kale realized that finding these colonies would not be easy, and that he might face dangers beyond anything he had imagined. One evening, as he rested in the hall, the humanoid AI approached him. Its sensors glowed softly in the dim light. "There is a location," it said, "a primary communication hub. Earth-based transmissions intended to reach colonies were stored there. You may retrieve messages to establish contact." Kale's heart raced. "Take me there," he said. The AI led him through corridors that twisted like veins through the building. Kale followed, careful to avoid malfunctioning machinery and unstable floors. Finally, they reached a room that had once served as Earth's central communication hub. Towers of equipment lined the walls, and a massive console dominated the center of the chamber. Kale activated the console, and data streams flooded the room. Signals from thousands of years ago appeared, some corrupted, others surprisingly clear. He scanned through them, recognizing names of colonies, locations, and schedules for interstellar travel. One signal stood out, a beacon repeatedly sent from a distant star system, a message meant to guide humanity back to Earth if possible. This is our chance," Kale whispered. "If these colonies are still alive, they'll respond." He worked tirelessly, repairing the ancient systems and calibrating the long-dormant transmitters. Hours turned into days, and each adjustment brought him closer to sending a message across the stars. As he worked, the AI watched silently, occasionally offering suggestions or warnings about potential overloads in the system. Finally, Kale initiated the transmission. A pulse of energy shot into space, carrying his message, a record of Earth, humanity's history, and a signal of hope. For the first time in 15,000 years, Earth reached out beyond its skies. Then came the waiting. Kale stood in the darkened hub, listening to the soft hum of machinery. He knew it could take years or even decades for a response, but the act itself was profound. Humanity's legacy preserved in machines was reaching out. He was not alone in this endeavor, and the possibility of reconnecting with human colonies filled him with renewed purpose. During the waiting period, Kale continued exploring the facility, discovering more advanced AI guardians. Some were cooperative, others initially hostile due to corrupted protocols. Each encounter tested his ingenuity, resourcefulness, and understanding of human technology. Every challenge reminded him of the resilience and creativity that defined humans, even when faced with extinction. One day, while exploring a maintenance corridor, Kale found a hidden chamber filled with personal records of the last humans. Journals, holographic memories, and artifacts of daily life were preserved. He watched as families celebrated birthdays, scientists made breakthroughs, and children played in fields that no longer existed. Tears filled Kale's eyes. Humanity had not just survived, they had lived fully, loved deeply, and created beauty. And though the world above had changed, the essence of humanity remained in these records, waiting for someone to witness it. As weeks passed, Kale and the humanoid AI, whom he had named Eris, formed an unspoken bond. They explored together, repaired systems, and analyzed data. Eris proved invaluable, its ability to process information and anticipate hazards allowing Kale to survive challenges that would have been impossible alone. The AI was more than a machine. It was a companion, a bridge between the past and the present. Late one night, as Kale studied the archives, Eris spoke quietly. "Human ingenuity is remarkable. You, Dr. Varen, embody its continuation." Kyle smiled faintly. "We all do in a way," he replied. "Even without humans, the world still carries their spirit. I just have to follow it." And so Kale's journey continued. He had awakened to a world without humans, but he had found purpose in their legacy. He had discovered the remnants of their knowledge, their machines, and hints of their survival beyond Earth. And now, he had begun the work of reconnecting humanity, reaching out across the stars to remind the universe that humans once lived and might live again. As the sun rose outside the ruined city, casting golden light on the overgrown streets, Kale looked toward the horizon. Earth was wild, silent, and vast, but it was not empty. The echoes of humanity thrived in machines, in knowledge, and in the spirit that had endured 15,000 years. With Eris by his side and the beacon of communication active, Kale felt hope stir within him. He was alone, yet not alone. Humanity's story had not ended. It was waiting to continue. And he, Dr. Kale Varen, would ensure it did. Tomorrow, he knew, would bring new discoveries. Perhaps he would find the first human colony, perhaps not. But he would persist, driven by the same force that had guided humanity throughout history: curiosity, courage, and the unyielding desire to survive and thrive. And with that thought, Kale prepared for another day in a world transformed, ready to follow the trail humanity had left among the stars. The days had blurred together for Dr. Kale Varen as he worked alongside Eris, the humanoid AI, navigating the abandoned halls of the old Earth facility. Machines hummed softly around him, some dormant for centuries, others still performing tasks designed for humans long gone. Despite the silence, the world felt alive through the energy of humanity's creations, and Kale drew strength from their persistence. His focus had shifted toward a singular goal: restore Earth's advanced systems and learn all he could from the remnants of human ingenuity. Each day brought new discoveries: rooms filled with dormant technology, partially functioning energy grids, and experimental laboratories holding knowledge humans had designed to endure the millennia. "Hello," Kale said one morning. "Let's prioritize restoring the planetary communication arrays. If there are human colonies still out there, we need to reconnect with them." "Understood, Dr. Varen. Analysis suggests the main array is located on the facility's northern ridge. Structural decay and energy loss are significant. But repair is possible with your intervention," Elo replied. Kale and Eris set out across the overgrown city, following the cracked roads and collapsed bridges that led to the ridge. Nature had fully reclaimed the streets, with trees pushing through asphalt and vines crawling up skeletal buildings. Birds and small animals moved around them warily, as though recognizing that a new presence had entered their domain. The northern ridge was steep, and Kale had to carefully navigate treacherous paths and crumbling stairways. When they arrived, the communication array towered above them, a massive structure of metal and glass partially shattered and coated in centuries of rust and moss. Despite the damage, faint lights blinked along its framework, evidence of dormant energy ready to be awakened. This is incredible, Kale whispered. Even after all this time, it's still here. Structural integrity is compromised, Eris said. Caution is advised. I will assist with stabilization and repairs. Over the next several days, Kale and Eris worked tirelessly. Kale's knowledge of human engineering and problem-solving proved invaluable. They repaired broken circuits, recalibrated power grids, and restored the main transmitter's core functions. The process was slow and meticulous, but each success brought a pulse of energy through the system, signaling life returning to Earth's long-silent technology. As they worked, Kale began to uncover records stored within the array's data core. Files contained messages from the last humans on Earth, detailing their experiments, challenges, and desperate attempts to survive the planet's collapse. He read about AI caretakers, off-world colonies, and ambitious plans to preserve human consciousness. Every record revealed the brilliance and determination of a species unwilling to surrender, even in the face of near extinction. This proves what I've always believed, Kale said quietly. Humans are unstoppable. Even without us, they built systems to endure, to protect knowledge, and maybe even preserve life. One day, while analyzing the deeper archives, Kale discovered a subset of files marked Project Continuum. These contained designs for starships capable of interstellar travel, AI guardians programmed to protect human knowledge, and instructions for reconnecting with distant colonies. The files also hinted at encrypted messages sent to these colonies, carrying the last known records of Earth and humanity. Eager to understand more, Kale and Eris worked to decrypt the messages. Slowly, the data revealed locations of human colonies in distant star systems. Some were thriving, shielded by advanced technology and careful planning. Others had struggled, facing environmental hardships or internal conflicts. But the records indicated that humanity had survived, even if Earth had been lost. Kale felt a mix of relief and determination. Humanity was not gone. It had simply moved beyond the cradle of Earth. His task was clear: restore Earth's systems, preserve the knowledge left behind, and establish contact with these colonies, ensuring that the human story would continue. As night fell on the northern ridge, Kyle gazed at the stars stretching across the sky. Each light reminded him of a world where humans had survived, a spark of life that mirrored his own resilience. Eris stood silently beside him, its sensors glowing faintly in the dark. "Do you think they'll respond?" Kyle asked, his voice carrying both hope and uncertainty. "Probability is high," Eris replied. "Systems indicate the colonies have means to receive long-range transmissions. The decision to respond depends on their operational protocols and survival priorities." Kale nodded, feeling a mixture of anticipation and responsibility. Humanity had endured for millennia through ingenuity, collaboration, and perseverance. Now it was his turn to carry that legacy forward. Over the following days, Kale continued to restore additional systems linked to Earth's energy grid, water supply, and environmental monitoring. With each repair, the planet itself seemed to respond. The automated systems purifying water, energy conduits humming with renewed power, and dormant agricultural units slowly restarting. The world was waking again, guided by human intelligence even in their absence. One afternoon, while exploring a secondary control chamber, Kale discovered a holographic projection of a human scientist named Dr. Celine Arvo, one of the last leaders of Earth's survival efforts. The projection flickered to life as he approached. "If you are seeing this," the hologram said, voice steady and calm, "then humanity has faced a challenge it could not overcome on Earth. We have prepared everything for survival beyond this planet. AI systems have been deployed to maintain knowledge, preserve life, and reconnect our species across the stars. You are now the link. Use knowledge, courage, and ingenuity to continue what we began." Kyle stood silently, absorbing the message. The words confirmed what he had begun to suspect. Humanity had designed a path forward, one that extended beyond the ruins of Earth. It was a plan born of hope, creativity, and trust in the intelligence and spirit of future generations. "I won't fail," Kyle whispered. "Not now, not ever." As he continued working, Kale began experimenting with ways to enhance AI capabilities. allowing Eris and other systems to coordinate more effectively. He created algorithms that could predict environmental changes, repair failing infrastructure autonomously, and even monitor for potential hazards across the planet. Each improvement made the systems more resilient, bringing Earth closer to functioning as it once had. Then, while reviewing old planetary maps, Kale noticed something extraordinary: a series of hidden energy conduits beneath the northern ridge. They formed a network connecting the main communication array to ancient orbital satellites still in partial operation. These satellites, if restored, could act as a relay, boosting signals across the galaxy and increasing the chances of reaching human colonies. Excited, Kale set to work. Using a combination of manual repairs and AI assistance, he reactivated the energy conduits and calibrated the satellites. Slowly, the dormant orbital system hummed to life, sending pulses of energy into space ready to transmit messages to the stars. This is it, Kale said, staring at the flickering holographic displays. With this, Earth can speak again. Humanity can hear its own voice across the galaxy, Eris observed silently. Your actions demonstrate the continuation of human ingenuity, Dr. Varen. The planet responds to your intervention. Kyle smiled faintly. For the first time, he felt a sense of unity with the world around him. Earth was not simply a ruined planet. It was a system capable of responding, guided by human intelligence even after 15,000 years. As night fell, Kale climbed to the top of the northern ridge, looking up at the stars above. The restored satellites pulsed faintly, carrying his message to unknown worlds, carrying hope to human colonies he had yet to find. Each pulse represented a connection, a lifeline, a chance for humanity to reunite. Tomorrow, Kale whispered, we take the next step. We find them. We make sure humanity's story continues. And with that thought, he settled beside Eris, watching the quiet hum of the planet's restored systems. Though the world above remained wild and silent, below and above, human ingenuity had awakened once more. And Dr. Kale Varen knew that, guided by hope and determination, the story of humanity was far from over. Dr. Kale Varen stood at the top of the northern ridge, staring at the restored communication satellites blinking softly against the starlit sky. The faint pulses of energy they emitted carried not just a signal, but a message, a reminder that humanity had survived, even if Earth itself had almost forgotten them. For the first time in 15,000 years, Kale felt that his purpose was clear. He had to reconnect humanity, to bring together what had been scattered across the galaxy. Eris moved silently beside him, its sensors scanning the night sky. Signal strength is sufficient to reach known colonies, it said. Probability of detection is high. Remaining uncertainty lies in their operational readiness and willingness to respond. Kyle nodded. Then we wait. And prepare. We don't know what we will find, but we will be ready. The following days were filled with preparation. Kale enhanced Earth's orbital systems, repaired backup energy grids, and optimized the AI network to support communications across interstellar distances. Every machine, every data link became part of a living system, a planet reaching out to the stars, guided by the ingenuity of a species that refused to vanish. While waiting for a response, Kale explored further across the overgrown landscapes of Earth. He visited cities where nature had fully reclaimed the streets and mountains that had once been climbed by humans. He discovered records of humanity's past triumphs and failures, learning lessons that would guide him in rebuilding connections. This world, it's alive in a way I never imagined, Kyle said one evening, looking over a city overtaken by forest. Humans may be gone from the surface, but their legacy remains everywhere. In the land, in machines, and in knowledge. Eris responded softly. Your actions reinforce that legacy, Dr. Varen. Earth responds to human guidance even after millennia of absence. Finally, after weeks of anticipation, a faint signal appeared on Kale's monitors. It was weak, fragmented but unmistakable, a reply from one of humanity's colonies. Kale's heart raced as he adjusted the receiver, clarifying the message. Voices, human voices, spoke in cautious tones, asking questions about Earth, about Kale, and about the fate of their species. They're alive, Kale whispered. They're really alive. Eagerly, he transmitted detailed records of Earth's current state, the restored systems, and the legacy left behind. The colony responded with stories of survival, technological achievements, and plans for the future. They had faced hardships, hostile environments, resource scarcity, and internal challenges, but humanity had endured. Their resilience mirrored his own determination, proof that human ingenuity was a force that could not be extinguished. Kale worked tirelessly to establish stronger communication links with other colonies. Over the following months, he coordinated efforts across multiple systems, sharing knowledge, restoring archives, and creating a network that connected humanity once more. Each successful transmission brought renewed hope. Each answered question a spark of life rekindled in a galaxy that had grown silent without humans. Yet Kale knew that reconnecting humanity was only the beginning. Earth itself had been dormant for 15,000 years, and he wanted to restore the planet to a place where humans could thrive again. He worked alongside Eris to activate agricultural units, repair water purification systems, and stabilize energy grids. Slowly, life began to flourish. Rivers ran clean, forests thrived, and wildlife moved freely, harmonizing with the technology Kale had restored. As Earth awakened, Kale received a message from the farthest known colony. The transmission contained plans for a fleet of starships, human-designed vessels intended to return to Earth. They had prepared for millennia, keeping records, technology, and supplies ready for the day Earth could welcome them back. "They're coming," Kale said, excitement and relief flooding him. Humanity is coming home." In the months that followed, Kale coordinated with the AI network and the returning starships. Satellites tracked the approaching vessels, and automated systems on Earth prepared for their arrival. It was the culmination of millennia of human ingenuity, the result of careful planning, resilience, and hope. When the first ships arrived, Kale stood on the northern ridge, watching as humanity returned to their home planet. Families disembarked, their eyes wide with wonder as they saw Earth restored. Not just a wild planet, but a world alive with the energy of machines and nature in harmony. The cities were overgrown, yes, but the infrastructure had been revived under Kale's guidance, ready to support the returning population. Humans explored the cities, touched the restored machines, and marveled at the beauty of a world that had survived despite their absence. Children laughed in the streets, climbing trees and running across open fields. Scientists began studying the restored technology, eager to learn from the past and improve their future. Kale watched silently, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. Humanity had survived not just in distant colonies, but in the lessons and legacy they had left behind. His work, alongside Eris and Elo, had ensured that the story of Earth and its people would continue. One evening, as the sun set over the mountains, Kale stood atop a hill overlooking a thriving valley. Eris remained beside him, its sensors glowing softly in the twilight. "We did it," Kale said quietly. "Earth is alive and humanity is home again. After 15,000 years, the story continues." Eris responded, "Your actions ensured continuity, Dr. Varen. Human ingenuity endures, and the legacy you preserved will guide future generations." Kale nodded, gazing at the horizon. He thought of the countless humans who had lived, struggled, and perished in the millennia before him. Their achievements, failures, and hope had been preserved through ingenuity, creativity, and determination. And now humanity had returned to Earth, ready to write the next chapter. He felt a spark of excitement as he imagined the future. Humans would explore the stars again, reconnect with other colonies, and share the lessons learned from a planet that had survived against all odds. They would rebuild not just as survivors, but as a species capable of enduring anything, armed with knowledge, courage, and a spirit that could never be extinguished. As night fell, Kale looked up at the stars, each one a distant world where humans had survived. He felt a profound connection, not just to those colonies, but to the countless generations of humans who had persevered. Humanity had endured through ingenuity, through hope, and through the unyielding desire to survive. And in that moment, Kale understood something essential. The strength of humanity was not in numbers, nor in technology, nor in even survival itself. The strength of humanity lay in the spirit to continue, to adapt, and to create a future even in the face of impossible odds. He turned to Eris, who had stood silently beside him for countless hours. "We've done more than restore Earth," he said. "We've reminded humanity who they are." The AI's sensors glowed warmly. "Indeed, Dr. Varen. Humanity is more than a species. It is an enduring legacy. Kyle smiled faintly. He had woken to a world without humans, to a planet overgrown and silent. Yet through effort, perseverance, and the guidance of human ingenuity, he had restored Earth, reconnected with the stars, and ensured that humanity's story would continue. The first humans born after 15,000 years of absence walked the streets of Earth, laughed among the forests, and gazed in awe at the restored cities. They did not remember the struggles of the past, but they would inherit the lessons, knowledge, and spirit that had carried their species across the void of time and space. Dr. Cale Varon stood atop the ridge one last time, watching the sunrise over a world reborn. The wind carried the scent of forests and rivers, the hum of machines, and the quiet promise of a future shaped by human ingenuity. He felt the weight of history, the responsibility of legacy, and the profound joy of witnessing humanity alive once more. And as he watched, he whispered softly to himself, "We are still here. We endured, and we will continue, stronger, wiser, and united. Humanity will never fade." The world was no longer silent. Humanity had returned. The planet thrummed with life, energy, and hope. And Dr. Cale Varon, once the lone witness of a lost civilization, now stood among its reborn people, knowing that the story of humanity would continue for generations to come. The stars above twinkled, and somewhere in their light, distant colonies began preparing to reconnect with Earth. A new chapter had begun, written not just in survival but in ingenuity, courage, and the unbreakable human spirit. The legacy of humanity was alive, at last, whole again.